All right, first up on the show then, let's put the spotlight on the woman-focused venture capital fund, She Capital. And we've got Anisha Singh joining in. She's a founder and managing partner here to discuss a little bit more about her journey as well as the road ahead. Thank you so much, Anisha, for taking time out. So how exactly did the idea come about, a woman-focused venture capital fund?
So She Capital, I started in 2018. And so I've been a founder for the last 20 years. I had a company which was called Kinis, where I did digital content. This was in 2004. I had moved back from the US to do that. I was very clear I wanted to do something in India for India. And then after that, I ended up, doing another internet company after that one got bought out, which was Maidala. That I started in 2009. And when I was, Maidala, because I started in 2009 and I was one of the first few internet female entrepreneurs, I didn't realize that there was a terminology on that one. What ended up happening was I'd be asked to speak globally on, just female entrepreneurship, but also entrepreneurship in India. And by this time, over the life of Maidala, I'd had two daughters. And when you start looking at the statistics, I had been mentoring female founders, you realize those numbers were not adding up for me because 2% of the funding was going to female founders, but I knew there were enough quality female founders in the ecosystem that were up and coming and doing really phenomenal stuff. I'm talking 2014, 15. And so what ended up happening was I essentially told my investors that I will move away and I'm going to be doing something. And I actually wanted to do something similar to Springboard, which was an initiative that I had been involved with the Clinton administration, which was helping female founders raise money. But instead, there was no female founder fund in India. There was one, I think, at that point in time. And it felt like something needed to be done in terms of the funding. So I moved from the founder side of the table to this side of the table.
And who exactly is backing it? What is the corpus that you have?
So the first fund, we've called a close already on it. We've done 14 investments out of She Capital Fund 1. We're currently in the process of raising Fund 2. In terms of Fund 1 performance, it's tracking to a fairly high IRR. We've returned cash back to our investors in the form of Clovia, which we exited to Reliance. And the fund's profile is broadly that we invest in consumer tech companies. But we have a lot of, on the tail end, what we saw was there were some really interesting opportunities in deep tech that were coming through. And so we've made a play for those as well. So it's horizontal in terms of the fund focus and where we invest. Obviously, given the fact that, our stomping ground for the first fund was early stage, Fund 2, we intend on doing a little more in terms of Series A as well.
So how much of the total committed investment, Anisha, is operational to support the women-led startups and women-led businesses? Which companies have you supported so far? Which sectors are you closely looking at?
Okay, so I actually have an aversion for the word support. We don't support anybody. We're a VC fund. I actually set up the She Capital Fund because I wanted to prove that women mean good business. When I started to raise the fund, I'd hear from everybody, oh, what a great cause. So I actually made a conscious thing of taking out words like support, empower. These are not words that sit in the She Capital dictionary. That being said, all our portfolio has to have one female founder or has to be female focused. That is the core thesis of the fund. And it is to make sure that, let's call a spade a spade. The fact is that there is not the startup ecosystem, but, I think it is more evenly balanced in the startup ecosystem. But the fact of the matter is there is a discrepancy and a disparity in terms of, females and males. So, this was just something that we needed to do in terms of evening out. So all of She Capital's portfolio is female-led or female-focused. It would make sense otherwise. I mean, it's a gender focus.
Right, and I understand you're also looking at providing mentorship to high growth companies. Tell us more about that.
So I think people come to She Capital not just because it's She Capital. I think they come here also because I've been a founder in the startup ecosystem for so long, so I think it's also that because I've been there, done that. Um, for us, this was not just about growing our portfolio, it was more about growing the female ecosystem at large. So when we started She Capital, we had said, look, we're going to invest out of this, and make sure that we're able to, for She Capital, it's very important just because my life has been that way. I don't think I would have been where I am if I hadn't seen great female leaders that I looked up to and aspired to be like. And so She Capital's goal is to create change, but from top down. And the only way to do that is have more female leaders that are leading phenomenal businesses on the top. And so for us, this was more of an ecosystem play than just also a portfolio play. For our portfolio, we do, everybody says, all VCs say they do mentoring, this, that, and everybody does that. But we wanted to do something that was more impactful at a larger ecosystem play. And the way we've done that is we've also created a platform that's called Together that brings together about 200 female founders, industry leaders, and top VCs once a year together in Goa. And it's a by invite event where we call leading unicorns, soonicorns, but also really cutting edge startups that are doing cool stuff that are led by female founders. And then we bring together top VCs to see the kind of stuff that's happening. And it is literally 36 hours of the best sisterhood that exists. That's what we do on the ecosystem side. And on She Capital side, we essentially work with our portfolio to make sure that they're scaling to what they need to. But I think every VC does that.
And are we seeing that, gush and wave of women-led companies in India versus the rest of the globe, you think?
So I have this theory that if there is going to be, if we're going to come to an equal ground and there's going to be equity, that's balanced out, it's going to be from India. And we're going to see it happen from the startup ecosystem. I put out a post around asking, just founders to do a shout out to amazing female founders, not the regular ones that we know, but, just amazing female founders building great businesses. And it was heartening to see how many guys actually responded back to that post, just shouting out to female founders and wanting them to be recognized. So I really, and I'm a sincere believer that if we are going to see change happen, it's going to be from the Indian startup ecosystem. And we're already seeing that. There are women leading amazing businesses here that are causing an amazing wave of change, right? We didn't have this where a tier 2, tier 3 city, female wanted or aspired to become a startup founder. That wasn't I started in 2009. That was a huge anomaly. You didn't see that happen. Now you're seeing more and more of that happen. I have so many founders that come to me, all actually just females that are looking to start up. And I tell them there's no better time to do that as opposed to now. Yes, the markets are a little depressed in terms of funding, but I think it's the perfect time to be starting up.
And finally, what's the vision for She Capital?
Look, so we're now actively raising for Fund 2, out of which we want to be able to invest in 18 to 20 companies and plus have a side pocket running for seed companies as well. So obviously the goal is about 4x of what we did in terms of impact, in terms of investing in female-led companies. We want to be able to do that. But the long-term goal is actually to prove that women do lead amazing businesses. So there have been studies that have shown that women return more on the dollar, or co-led or diverse teams actually do really well. For us, that's been a sticking point. We want to be actually able to prove that diverse teams actually, different points of views actually do really well in terms of returning more capital to their investors. So the long-term goal of She Capital isn't, it's not a rah-rah for founders or anything. It's just really just, I guess, supporting the ecosystem in whichever way possible and being able to give it back by helping amazing female founders grow, and being able to champion them. This ecosystem has given so much to me. I've been in this ecosystem since 2009. I've seen it grow tremendously. I was one of the first few female founders, and now I look and there's such amazing founders building such amazing things. And I just want to be able to champion and kind of help as much as we can. And that's the goal of She Capital. We just want to be able to be having ringside seats to some amazing female founders or diverse teams that are building amazing businesses and see them scale to taking them public or whatever they want to do with it, but getting to, if they want to go global or whatever, we want to be able to be there, that part of journey, and just kind of enjoy the ride with them and help them and support them.
Okay, Anisha, good interacting with you. We'll take a very short break and be right back.